Hi, I wanted to make one more of these where we get a little more in depth with fragments, and this time I'm going to open up Soul Drums. And see what we can do with that. So there we are, almost. Okay, I'll just go for this kit. It's okay. So let's go into events. Now I have saved the script here in generators in BeatBox. Make sure we have the latest version. Load in Soul Drums mapping and set path to source. Okay, so yeah, cool. I wanted to talk a bit more about the options you have here and a bit more about the input. The first thing I want to show you is that you can, instead of typing resolutions from the list, you can type beat values. So you could do something like this: 1 equals a quarter note, 4 is a whole note, but we'll take a quarter note and then we'll take it gradually faster. Yeah, just to hear an example. The total duration here is actually 4, so it should even out nicely. Let's let the hi-hat play quarter notes for comparison. So this is what it sounds like. Cool, bit out of sync, but that's how it is. You could also, if you wanted to make a quintuplet, you could take 1 for a quarter note, division by 5, and we have 0.2. So we could have 5 0.2 to make up a quarter note. So let's try that. And just copy it 5 times. Like this. Total duration is 1. Yeah. Bit machine gun, but you get the idea. We could try it with a tambourine, maybe, and take the BPM down to 90. Cool. And 1/8 here. Yeah, cool. So you're free to make any type of resolution you want. The lowest resolution you can choose will be 128. So if you try to make extremely low resolutions, they will go up to 128, just to limit the craziness just a little bit. Okay, so that's cool. We can keep it, just turn it off. The next thing I wanted to show you was all the options here. Let's load in one of the presets I have. We can try this one, 2/16, 1/8, and we'll do it on the hi-hat. Or we can do it on the snare. So you'll get something like this. Yeah, cool. The play probability is the probability that this sound source is selected at all across everyone who has assigned it as a source. So in this case, just the snare has it. But if any other had it, it would be similar for that one too. So if we set 25%, it will be selected. So it will not go every time, not just a hi-hat. And eventually this should come in, but not every time. Okay, I'll increase it. It was a bit slow to take, so yeah. So now you see half of the times approximately it will trigger, but you don't know exactly which half. So that's the play probability. The repeat probability is the probability that this fragment will repeat itself. If repeat probability is 0, it will only ever play once unless the minimum repeats is set higher. But if you have the repeat probability all the way up, you can also set a decay. So for each iteration of the fragment, it will decay by, let's say, 60%. So there is a very small chance that it will repeat a lot of times, maybe 2, 3 at the max, usually. Let's hear what that's like. We could put this up to 75. Yeah, so we get some repeats. Okay, this M, that's minimum repeats for the fragment. So if we need this to be repeated 4 times every time, we can set a firm number on that. Also we have random, reverse and rest. Let's try random first. It will play the fragment in random order for the percentage of times that we choose. So let's say 50. Listen. So some changes there. Reversing, 50%. Yeah, so it plays in reverse half the times. This is the amount of rests that are introduced. So we could say we want a quarter of the notes to be played as rests, but we don't know which ones. So, and we could of course combine this, so we can have both rests and reverse, and also random if we wanted in a few cases. So let's hear. Cool. So now you can make variations here, small or bigger variations. Another thing, now you heard that this falls on the downbeat also. So one way to fix that, if you wanted it to not go on the downbeat, to crash with the kick, you could go into here and say rests on downbeats should be 100%. So you have 3 options for rests in addition to typing them in yourselves. That is on the downbeat, on the upbeat. Sorry, it should be on the downbeat for the snare, the rest. And also you can say it should have a rest at the start of the fragment, independent of direction or anything here. So if we rest on the downbeat, you get this. So it will never play on 1 or 3. If you wanted to control that more directly, you could say set a minus before the first one, but then it will apply to the fragment and not particularly to the downbeat. So if this was moving at a different time or a different offset, you would still be able to get it on the downbeat. Also, the rests may turn on or off rests for the rests too. So yeah, in some cases the best option is to say it should rest on the downbeat. And also you could do for the kick that it rests on the upbeat, so you get or back to 4 on the floor. Yeah, so that's good. Okay. As I said before, you can see here the total duration for a beat in the tooltip, and that's very useful if you're adding things yourself. So if I add this dot, I will see it's up to 1.75. So I could just type in the beat value to fill if I wanted it to be even. So I could say, for example, 2.25, and now we're up to 4. So it's going in an even order. Yeah, works pretty well. And we could also say on the snare here that we wanted it to use the accent. So let's say it should accent the upbeat, for instance. So we could say every nth note. Let's try the upbeat. Of course, this is only if a hit is directly on the upbeat. So let's try every third note and remove the rests. So you get some variation there. What I usually do is I take, at least with these acoustic drums, I take in a utility that's called velocity randomization. It's very simple. It just randomizes the velocities, so you don't get the static playing. If I take 25, that's pretty much, so it should be probably too much, but just to get the point across. I'll turn off all this accenting. Yeah, so you hear across the different drums that there are some variations. Let's put this down to a sensible amount like this. Let's hear it with the quintuplet. Yeah. That tambourine player sure is out of sync. Yeah, cool. Okay, so another thing I wanted to take, probably the last thing, is for instance on the hi-hat. Let's say we have, let's load in this one, see what it's like. Yeah, that's pretty good. What I wanted to do here was I wanted to I'll set an accent on the fragment start, and I wanted to show you how you can randomize a little bit with open hi-hats and other articulations of the drums. So what I usually do is I load up from UVI's sequencing utilities. I get the gate mod Bernoulli, and you can use this to gate to adjust what tones are stricken by probability. So let's say the input note is the F sharp for the hi-hat, and you notice now when I play the F sharp, it actually played the kick. That's because that's on the C. So I want in 50% of the times to play the same pitch that came in, or actually I want it a little bit more on that side, a bit more to the F sharp, and on the other side I want to get the pedal hi-hat, and we'll do the same for this one. Get F sharp in, and out we want either F sharp or the open hi-hat. So now I'm just playing the same note, but it varies what articulation is chosen. Let's put this a bit in the favor of the F sharp too. So now if you listen to the hi-hat, you will get the result. Yeah, that's cool. So I often do this also with the toms, for instance, or different articulations on the snare. So it's just to dial in and set the probability amount, how often you want other articulations to be played. It's very helpful. Okay, cool. Thank you.